Welcome back to the Division 2. We have some news. They did a maintenance on the game, and I'm going to just be outright honest. They have messed this game up even worse than it already was. They have decided to, yet again, make things harder for solo players. We're going to be having a brief look, it won't be on screen, but we'll have a brief look at the title update 8.4 patch notes. And then what I'll do is I'll leave them linked in the description if you want to check them out. But honestly, the developers, I know times are hard at the moment, but they're saying stuff in their tweets and they're not actually doing what they're saying, or they're doing what they're saying they're not going to. And it's just a disappointment. I will still be playing the game. This isn't me quitting the game or anything. I'm not moaning. I'm just letting you guys know so that you are aware of what the devs are actually doing to the game. In a tweet 10 hours ago, they said a fix for the bug causing an unintended increase of damage is still being worked on and not part of today's maintenance. But they actually patched it, so you'll see the thumbnail updated on my video showing you how to do the damage glitch. It will say patched instead of damage glitch because that is now not working. You will still see the visual changes, but nothing will increase in terms of actual damage output in game. Although, because they have messed up with solo players, I'm going to tell you now that if you want a new damage glitch, I won't be doing it, my friends won't be doing it, because the last one we did with the bulwark shield and having to equip your specialization, it got so tedious, so boring, and not only that, it bugged the game out to the point where we were being delta errored. So all of that time, I know it's cheating, whatever, but all of that time we put into actually sitting on the turret was then wasted, and it was like half an hour at a time. So we got fed up with it. We're going back to playing legit. But if you do want a new damage glitch, I'm not sure about console, but currently it is known to be working on PC, then go check out EK1 Gaming. He's done a video on it recently. So the damage glitch I posted is now patched, but they have put gameplay changes, so the seasonal manhunt is changed to allow progress at normal difficulty and above. It is now receiving a button in the manhunt UI that allows players to reset that to replay it. It allows players to reset the progress specifically and without changing the global difficulty. It also means changing the global difficulty will not reset the manhunt and players are required to reset it via the manhunt UI. Coyote's mask is now in the loot pools, so if you want a better role for your mask, then you can go and take down the end boss of Jefferson Trade Center called Coyote, and there's a bigger drop chance. It works the same as exotics, bigger drop chance on higher difficulties, even though the RNG still sucks. We're also looking into providing the mask for players that have not received them, even though they've reached season rank 35. They've increased the reward quality for the following open world activities to be in line with other, so public execution, settlement, blockades, and propaganda broadcast. They will have better loot, but the loot still sucks, because I've been doing a lot of open world activities and stuff, and some of the rewards have been purples with no bar on their attributes at all, because it's such low values. Playing on heroic as well. The loot needs changing again. There are some developer notes. The game was tuned in a way that playing the exact same enemy composition at higher difficulties and higher player counts would match to the expected gear of that difficulty and extra players added. However, since the game also adds more elites and veterans to accommodate higher difficulty and player counts, this caused tuning to overcompensate health and damage higher than intended. We are lowering many of these values. They reduced the NPC damage output for all difficulties. This is coming tomorrow. Title update 8.4. It will be tomorrow the 25th of March. 8:30 AM UK time is when the servers go down. 3 hours expected downtime. This applies to all NPCs and activities, and enemies will do less damage to players compared to their current damage output, although I don't think they're going to decrease it a lot, because it's like these patch notes alone show that these developers are nothing but lazy. They've reduced NPC health and armor for group scaling, enemy health and armor scaling for 2, 3 and 4 player groups based on veterancy. There's a few more things there. You can check the link in the description. I don't want to go through it all, I just want to get to the good stuff. This developer note: we still intend heroic and legendary to be very challenging. Therefore, we are increasing the base difficulty to account for the health reductions for co-op scaling. Compared to now, this means heroic and legendary will be a bit harder for solo players and 2-player groups. 3-player difficulty will stay roughly the same, and 4-player difficulty will be easier. So if you're playing in a 4-man group, it's going to be easier for all 4 of you. 3 players pretty much hasn't been touched. If you're solo or in a 2-player group, it's going to be even harder than it's already been. There are a few pointers in there. They've reduced the health of Warhounds, reduced damage of the Warhound Sniper, reduced the damage of the 360 spin of the Warhound minigun. There are a few others, but this is the part that really gets me, level 30 World Tier 1 to World Tier 5 content. I've had so many comments of people saying, can you do a video about being level 30 because it just seems impossible and pointless to play. There's nothing for us to do, and it just seems that no matter what build we put together, we're constantly being screwed. And this is the reason you are constantly being screwed, and I've not been able to do a video because I only have one character. Well, I've got two, but one's at level 15 or whatever. I've not boosted a character up to level 30 and grinded that content because I've been so focused on my level 40 character. But NPC damage, health and armor will receive additional reductions. This is their developer note. Pre-Warlords of New York content has lower maximum values to weapon damage, skill damage and armor etc. than level 31 plus content. So difficulty is now tuned separately for pre-expansion world tier content. So that means if you're level 30, playing through World Tier 1 to World Tier 5, your maximum values for weapon damage, skill damage, armor, and all the other stuff like that, it's been pointless. Because you've got lower maximum values. So if your max weapon damage is 15% on for an attribute, a core attribute, on a level 40 piece of gear, it could be 10% for level 30 players. At the same time though, the tuning was exactly the same for level 30 and level 40. That is complete laziness and there is no other word for it. In my opinion, that is complete bollocks. That is not fair to the players that didn't buy the expansion. That's pretty much trying to turn the game into pay to play. Because you're going to be fucked over if you don't have the level 40 ability, like the ability to get to level 40 because you don't have the expansion. You had lower maximum values for your stuff, yet the difficulty was scaled and tuned the exact same way. They've only just separated it like 3 weeks into release. That shit should have been separated from the get-go. But I'm not here to sit there and just constantly whinge. That was just a little vent because that is annoying. I've got the expansion. I'm level 40. It doesn't affect me. But for all of those players that don't have the expansion, that is not fair at all. They've balanced some PvP stuff. The rifles have a minus 10%. The MMR, so the marksman rifles, minus 10%. All PvP weapon damage is minus 20%. So PvP has been heavily nerfed. But on top of the minus 20%, rifles and marksman rifles have 10% extra reduction on their damage. So you go in there with a marksman rifle, you might as well take a spud gun. But that does also mean that the classic M1A, the Baker's Dozen, all of the rifles in PvE that people keep saying, oh, they've been nerfed, they've not been touched in PvE. That is what these patch notes are saying. And that is also what the developers said on State of the Game. So anyone thinking that these changes for rifles and MMRs in PvE is not affecting PvE, it's just PvP. So with the Cluster Seeker Mine, they've reduced the distance to ball charge from 12 meters to 10, and they've reduced the distance from end to explode from 6 meters to 4. Okay, so they've nerfed part of the Cluster Seekers as well. These changes should make the Cluster Seeker Mine feel a bit more responsive. If that's the case, okay. But there is no mention in these patch notes that the Revive Hive glitch has been fixed, so I would just take it off and run Restorer. There's no point, like, you can run it and take the risk, but chances are it's not actually going to get you back up. Then there are a load of bug fixes. They fixed an issue causing a sticky bomb to not do damage under certain circumstances. They fixed an issue causing the shock trap deploys to be very close together when they're launched, so they weren't separating properly. They fixed an issue causing global difficulty to affect the raid. They fixed an issue causing specializations to not unlock while owning the Ultimate Edition or having purchased the Year 1 bundle. There are a few more in there, but that's me pretty much done. I really don't think it's fair that they are making the game harder for solo players, and it's only now, 3 weeks after the release of the expansion, that they're actually separating the tuning from level 40 to level 30 content. I think it's ridiculous. But I'm not going to carry on. If you don't agree with the video or whatever, then just leave a dislike on it. I'm just stating my opinions and how I don't think it's fair for the community. So if you are a solo player and you don't want to be a part of this tomorrow, then I'm pretty sure they won't patch the glitch that quick because they left the old one up for a couple of days. So EK1 Gaming is your guy to go to because he has a new one, and you should be able to actually stand a chance when you're playing solo on heroic difficulty content. So that's going to do it for me and the video. I will be back very soon with more content. We're going to be doing Polarity Switch hopefully very soon. But let me know all of your thoughts and stuff in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.